Hi, this is Andy and John from Car Repairs Made Easy. Today we're working on a 1999 Ford F-250 with a 7.3 liter diesel engine. Today we're going to change the water pump because the front bearings are worn out. So to start this job, first thing we have to do is drain the coolant. So we're going to go underneath, drain the coolant. Make sure you have a bucket to put the coolant in so you don't make a mess. On this one, here's the petcock here. This is where it should drain out. This one's a 19 millimeter. So we're just going to gently turn this loose here. You can use pretty much any kind of bucket you want to use. Just make sure you catch as much as possible. Just be real careful because the petcock here is plastic. So you don't want to break anything. This one's not wanting to drain yet. There we go. As you can see, it's draining out. Now that we've got that started, we'll go up, take the radiator cap off, and that'll help it flow out. This particular vehicle doesn't have a cap on the radiator. We have one on the overflow jar or coolant reservoir. We'll just take this loose. And that'll give us a nice steady flow of coolant into our bucket. So while that's draining, we're going to start removing a few things that are in the way so we can start taking this apart. The coolant reservoir is going to have to be moved. So to get to that, we have two 8mm bolts down here, one underneath the jack or the spare tire tools. So we're going to use a pair of channel locks or pliers because this is going to be pretty tight. So we'll use these to get this loose. You can just spin it off by hand. Put this out of the way. Then we can move. Actually, all we need to move is the crowbar. Then we're going to start taking these bolts loose here to get the coolant jar out of the way. We have our 1/4-inch ratchet. This is a preferred size for these smaller bolts. With an extension and either an 8mm or a 5/16 socket will work. Not all metric sizes have an equivalent standard or fractional size, but 8mm and 5/16 are almost exactly the same, so you can interchange them. Then once we get the coolant jar out of the way, we're going to remove the belt. And then we will see how this fan blade comes off, because that'll be what comes off next. Oh. Let's see. We have a hose on the bottom of this, so we're going to go with this drain for a minute. And then once this coolant jar gets drained, we'll be right back to show you how we're going to move it out of the way and proceed on with the procedure. Okay, we're back. Our coolant's drained out of the coolant reservoir. So what we need to do is remove this hose and the one at the bottom. We'll get you a shot of that once we get it pulled up to take it out. We have the spring clamps here, so just use pliers or channel locks. Just squeeze it and slide it off. We're going to use channel locks because the other one's a little bigger and that saves us from having to switch tools. But a good pair of pliers will work also. Just twist this, come right off. Now, over here on the bottom, we have another hose, which may be hard to see. There it is right here. Another clamp. And it's going to be the same procedure. We're just going to squeeze it, move the clamp out of the way, and then twist the hose. It should come right off without too much trouble. A bit of a tight squeeze here. These clamps are under a lot of tension, so you have to be careful you don't hit yourself with it. There we go. And if this works, that'll come right off of there. And that's out of the way. Now, while we were waiting for the coolant to drain, we took a look here and we noticed we're going to need to take the fan off, or the fan clutch off, before we remove the belt. That'll help keep the pulleys from turning, and it'll help give us more tension on it. In one of our other videos we showed you what a fan clutch tool looks like, and that's what you need. It is basically one of these, but the one you'll typically find, you could probably get it from a local auto parts store. They usually loan tools. It'll have a longer handle, and it'll also have another piece that has a longer handle, and the end of it will be shaped similar to this, but it will have two pins that stick out of the side, and that will fit into holes that are on the front of the water pump pulley. Or in this case, it'll wrap around the bolts, and the bolts will hold it in place. Just for sake of time, and we don't have the other tool with us, we're going to use this one. It's going to run off an air tool. We know chances are that you won't have an air compressor and air tools at home, but we're just going to do this to make things easier for us. But it's essentially the same thing. This goes on here, make sure we got the right size. This is going to fit on here like this. We're going to need to turn the engine so we can get it right angle. See how I'm turning this with my hand? Well, you'll have the longer one that you'll use. You have the holding tool, and then you have the longer one, the longer wrench that will be out here. You'll hold it with one hand and push it like this with the other and break it loose. So we're going to go ahead and knock this loose. We're going to break it loose, and then we'll be right back.